Greetings, kings, queens, and royal persons. So, question. What are the projects for NuRhet? How are they organized and how are they to be understood? That's what I would like to expound, which means to exposit upon for you now. The projects are 3 in number, 3 boss battles that culminate after several prepare for your project activities. So let's go to the course site. Here it is. Classwork. If we go to any acts or activities, say we'll go to this one. Open up the plan. The plan will take you where? Okay, so to the party van. The party van means what precisely? I have it in my mind that I would like to gamify this course at some point, but so I'm rolling that out in stages. So I have this story. But we can walk right past that. Okay, the projects are organized as 3 boss battles. First boss battle from map to memes, a second boss battle from map to personal brand, and a third boss battle. From map to press kit. Now, are you detecting a pattern just in the titles? From map to X, from map to Y, from map to Z. So why is it organized like that? Why would it take precisely? Why would my projects take precisely that form? Okay, so the projects are 3 in number, 3 boss battles that culminate after several prepare for your project activities. And if you go to the course site, that's exactly what you see. Okay, so you have a first boss battle from maps to memes. Now there's a lot more going on here because the readings are mixed in. But if you notice in these 2 sections, the readings aren't there yet. They will be, I'm working on them. But they're not there yet. And so we can just look at the flow of tasks that comprise the projects, right? So in this case you have 3. In the first cycle you actually have 4, but in each case you have 3 prepare exercises. Prepare for your second boss battle, prepare for your second boss battle, prepare for your second boss battle. Notice that this is in all caps. That's very significant. It isn't, but I like to think it is. Okay, so, notice the I is missing here. That's very it's not significant at all. I am capricious. Okay, but you have 3 acts and activities. Prepare, where I'm asking you to do what? Prepare for your boss battle. Now your boss battle is going to consist of a whole bunch of worksheets, right? So this is where you post your content. All of those worksheets are, so the content in those worksheets for the final boss battle, so you'll have already drafted them in these earlier prepare for your boss battle assignments. Okay, so you have your assignment with a bunch of worksheets. You have these prepare assignments with fewer worksheets, but they all add up to the same number as here, right? So in other words, I am drafting my boss battle, I am drafting my boss battle, I am drafting my boss battle, and getting feedback, by the way, So by the time you get to your boss battle, even though it seems like a lot of work, yeah, you kind of already did it. I'm simply expecting you to improve or refine it. Now, I expect you to improve or refine it even if, so I'm just wondering, okay. So even if, so all I gave you were points and praise. If I give you points and praise, that's great. I still want you to revise it. Don't say, oh, Gil loves this. He loves me. He thinks I'm wonderful. And I do, by the way, but that doesn't mean you get to stop spinning your wheels. Okay, so the projects are 3 in numbers. Their organization is this. You draft, you submit. You draft, you submit. You draft, you submit. Okay, so and remember, map to X, map to Y, we always start with maps. So now I will explain why now, right? So what is the method? The method of this course, well, is the method that's sort of built into rhetoric. So they each follow in different ways. Okay, so each of the assignments is a different expression of the grammar, logic, rhetoric method. Grammar, logic, rhetoric method. This is known as the trivium. The trivium. You've heard the term trivial, right? This used to be so common that everybody knew it. A rhetorical education was just something everybody received who received any education at all. It is the first academic discipline. It is the oldest academic discipline in the West. And and there is a methodology built into it. Now, this is, in the West, the universal method of knowledge formation. Well, not just the West. If you'll recall, the first article I make you read, and it's the first article I make every class in rhetoric read, is Mao, right? So Mao's. On practice. Practice in the Marxist tradition means any transformative labor. It doesn't mean like practicing your tennis serve. It means practice as in producing stuff, acting on the world in order to elicit an outcome of some kind. Okay, so Mao describes in his essay on Mao describes this method. In his essay on social practice, you begin at the perceptual or the fragmentary. Okay, so everything in bits, everything in parts. So now that this can be frustrating, I should say. Everything seems like noise. So for the rhetorician, this is grammar, right? So we're breaking things down. We want this. This is a necessary phase. This is not an aberration. This is not a problem. This is actually the solution. In fact, when you're presented with holes, when somebody tells you, hey, X is the case, what should you do? Break it down. So Mao calls those who just receive the knowledge of the world whole and entire uncritically as dogmatists. These are literalists. These are the credentialists that think, so because I'm a scientist, I must be right, or because this person is a scientist, they must be right, because this person has a PhD attached to their name, so they have to be right? They have to be smart. No, nothing works that way. No, you break it down. You analyze it. To analyze means what? To take things apart. For example, a sentence. How do you analyze a sentence? Well, you analyze it into its parts of speech. You analyze it as topic object, as grammatical subject, as predicate, as grammatical subject, verb, object of the verb. There are any number of ways to analyze a sentence. But when you analyze a sentence, you're breaking it down into its parts. Okay, but you begin at the perceptual or the fragmentary. For the rhetorician, this is the grammar level. You pass to the rational. This is the level of the understanding. Okay, and this for the rhetorician is the logical level. Okay, so now are we done? Okay, so now we're thinking rationally. Now we're thinking logically. Okay, so we see all the parts, but now we understand how they fit together. Now we can prioritize them. Now we see how they specify themselves into hierarchies. Now we see how they interact. Now we see the relations of cause and effect among them, such that we can explain or predict what's going on in our field of vision or in our in our experience. And and this is great. This is the level of the rational. However, we don't stop there. Something can be logical, something can be rational, and still be flat wrong. Okay, so how many times have you arrived at a rational conclusion and the universe didn't? No, there's another level we have to pass to, and that is the level of action or activity. You act on the world, and this is what Mao was talking about, right? When he talks about once you develop a rational understanding, then you develop hypotheses and you begin to act on them. And and what is your primary truth criterion for Mao? Success. Does it work? So this is the notion that knowledge is. So who am I quoting here? Let me go to what is it? Tree of knowledge. Tree of knowledge. No. What are these guys' names? Tree of Maratona. Am I gonna get? You know what? Chilean cyberneticians. Chilean cybernet. I don't know if I spelled that right. Chilean cybernetics. I'm not finding these guys. Let's try Amazon.ca. tree of knowledge. There it is. Okay. So this tree of knowledge, the biological roots of human understanding. Maritana and Varela. So they come up with the notion that they don't come up with it. I mean, this is traditional. That knowledge is effective action. Knowledge is effective action, which Mao agrees with, which the whole rhetorical tradition agrees with. This is why we call it grammar, logic, rhetoric. Grammar is what? This is where we break everything down. We understand it in its parts. In rhetoric, so we have lots of tropes and schemes and rhetorical figures and so forth. These are the parts. So once we understand the logic of a particular discourse, right, then we can assemble those parts in meaningful ways. Because we understand more how to do that. But we haven't yet finished. We need to actually test our hypotheses with what? Performance. This is why it's grammar, logic, rhetoric. Rhetoric is what? It's what we perform. Okay, so anyway, this process has other names, right? So analysis, synthesis, ingenium ratio. Ingenium ratio comes from the Italian humanist tradition. That's actually my tradition. But anyway, you start with things all broken up, and you pass from that to effective action. Knowledge is, for Mao and for the rhetoricians and for us, effective action. Effective action. Okay, so I started with what? The question of what are the projects for NuRhet? How are they organized? I talked to you about, okay, so we have 3 projects. You prepare for the projects, then you have the actual project that you submit. The projects are 3 in number, 3 boss battles. Okay, and now I talked about the method, right? The method in every case is what? From map to X, from map to Y, from map to Z. And why is that the case? It's the case because we're following the pattern of grammar, logic, rhetoric. We're following the pattern that Mao lays out in his own practice, which is the process of knowledge formation in general. Okay, so what is the precise procedure in this case? Okay, so for each boss battle cycle, and I include in a boss battle cycle what? Okay, so it's the preparation activities. These are acts and activities. Acts and activities are actually very low cost, which means what? You can botch one without too much of a problem. I dropped the 3 lowest evaluations, so they're a chance for you to fail forward, to make lots of mistakes. That's fine. So I expect that. So I don't expect anybody to be perfect. In fact, I don't want perfection. So I simply want prototypes. I simply want minimum viable product. So you can improve and refine for the final boss battle. Okay, but for each boss battle cycle, you pass through a number of drafting exercises in order. These are to prepare you for the boss battle activities, and you submit your completed boss battle revised and refined at every step. Revised and refined at every step. The first boss battle takes us from maps to memes. In this first exercise, we establish the link between analysis and communicative act. Analysis and communicative act. Analysis and communicative act. Analysis means what? We break everything apart. For us in this assignment, breaking everything apart takes the form of an affinity diagram, affinity diagram, and then map. A map. So the affinity diagram that we then narrow down into a map, right? And it's about the anti-vax or the anti-mask or the topic, or a topic that you chose that I cleared. If you make up your own topic and I didn't clear it, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to have a bad time. A bad time. To do Yoda, right? A bad time you will have. But anyway, so you map it out. Your map takes the form of a contested narrative space. The contested narrative space, okay, so now when you do the map, right, you actually have to go back to the affinity diagram and fill it out somewhere, because what you'll discover is you didn't, so your research was inadequate for the more particular questions that are raised by the map. That's no problem. That's exactly the way it should work. You iterate through every level of the research process. And so you enrich your affinity diagram, you enrich your map, but your map gives you a depiction of a contested narrative space. So now you have both sides of the issue. Where you decide to insert yourself in the discussion, I don't care. You can go pro-mask, pro-anti-mask, pro-vax, anti-vax, whatever. But you're developing memes or infographics to insert yourself into this conversation based on your analysis, and you will justify your decision to me. based on your analysis, your creative decisions, your decisions with respect to your image assets based on your analysis, This is this first episode, this first exciting episode is a practice session. And what are we practicing? Analysis, synthesis. Analysis, synthesis. You are analyzing a situation in its depth. So in order to insert yourself in the form of a performance. In this case, your rhetorical performance are memes or infographics in which you insert yourself into this conversation. Okay, so that's the first boss battle. That is the first boss battle. Okay, so where you intervene or you act within a narrative space based on your own memes or infographics. Oh my God, so exciting. You are so lucky to be enrolled in this course. So you pass from grammar to logic to rhetorical act, from broken bits to a synthesis of parts, to your acting within your own synthesis. Okay. The second boss battle takes the form of a branding exercise. Sounds painful, doesn't it? It's a branding exercise. You will brand yourself based on an intense analysis, right? Maps. The most important part of the branding exercise is your nth meme soundbite. This is where we get to the heart of the matter. This entire course is nth meme soundbite, nth meme soundbite, nth meme soundbite. So you can discern that just from the readings. But do not, and I'm just warning you now, it's actually in the instructions in big red letters, do not use adjectives, do not use adverbs in your nth meme soundbite. So only nouns, only verbs, and it must be simple plus core equals compact. So you are expected to apply everything you've learned, to this enterprise. From the nth meme soundbite, you will derive a talking points memo that realizes your life as a project. This is your manifesto. Mood board exercise. So a branding operation. So this is the only activity that survives from my social media. From my social media unit that I had to remove from the course because there's no way I could deliver it online. Okay, so the third boss battle is a reprise of the first boss battle. Let me repeat that. The third boss battle is a reprise of the first boss battle. Do not throw away any of the materials from your first boss battle. Why? Because you can use them. Improve and refine them, make them better, make them more in depth, so add to them, but you can use them. Please use them, because I want you to stay with your first topic, anti-mask, anti-vax, or something that I approved of. So if you go your own way, you will have a bad time. So you'll pursue the same topic as the first, whether anti-mask, anti-vax, only now you will apply what you learned about branding. You will apply what you learned about branding to mount a comprehensive message campaign based on an nth meme soundbite from which you derive talking points and image assets. Again, you begin with a murder wall, an affinity diagram, with breaking everything into bits, the perceptual level, everything's fragmentary, and you end with a rhetorical performance of awesomeness. So the most awesome rhetorical performance ever produced will be produced by you in this third boss battle. For each boss battle, you are expected to learn all you can and apply all you learn. Learn all you can, apply all you learn. Have you noticed that I speak to you in sound bites? So this means that you apply Carvel and Begala. This means that you apply the Heath Brothers success formula, I should say. This means that you apply Green, Emmel, Gage, Walker, and Wiley. This means that you apply Prenicillin and so all of your readings to the problem of the boss, especially the second and the third boss battles, where you're actually developing nth meme talking points, nth memes, and nth meme soundbite paradigm talking points. I know it doesn't seem much like it. I know it doesn't seem. Okay, so I know everything seems noisy now, is what I want to say. Everything seems noisy, and just you look at this course and you think, oh my God, this is chaos. Because, as Mao attests, when we enter Otherland, right? So, Alice in Wonderland, there's a philosopher I love who refers to it as ego in Otherland, because the story of Alice in Wonderland is us all the time. So we are in ego in this world that is not us and that really makes no sense to us, but we have to puzzle our way through it. So other land is everything apart from the ego. Nothing at first makes sense. It's all noise. But I wonder how surprised you'll be later. Perhaps much, much later, but how surprised you'll be when you begin to realize that all of this noise and randomness has a pattern, a discernible shape, and that you've been repeating that pattern again and again and again for an entire semester. It's a simple pattern too. It's a very simple pattern. Okay, so I want to end on a story. A Zen story. Okay, so this story has like 16 different variations. But I love this story. Whatever the variation, whatever the version, it's wonderful every time. A student approaches a Zen master, and and with the same question every time, right? So, tell me the secret of Zen. Right, so this is every student's question, right? You just give me the gist of this, right? It's just like I get sitting in classrooms for hours, that's great, but just tell me what this all, just tell me the secret. Okay, so and the answers are wonderful. So in one version of the story, the answer is you sleep and you eat. What? Yeah, so yeah, when you're tired you sleep, and when you're hungry you eat. But everyone does that. Yeah, no, they don't. So most people, when they're sleeping, they're thinking of 10,000 other things when they're trying to sleep. And when they're eating, they're thinking of 10,000 other things. They're not ever present where they are. Okay, that's one version of the story. It's pretty cool. So another version of the story that I think is superior is like the student says, "Tell me the secret of Zen. Chop wood, carry water." What? Everyone does that. Yeah, no, they don't. So now the message in this case is a little bit different. It's like, do one thing at a time. Do one thing at a time. Chop wood, carry water. Okay, so don't worry about how it all fits together. Don't worry about the divine plan. Don't worry about, the wheel of karmic justice. Don't worry about any of that. Just keep your eyes on what you're doing. Chop wood, carry water. Chop wood, carry water. Any other direction, yes, is madness and death. But anyway, but here's the variation. Here's the version of the story I like the best. Okay, and that I think applies to this course. Well, it actually applies to how I instruct. Or my method of instruction. So again, you have a master. Okay, so imagine an elderly gentleman. Long white beard. Student approaches. Tell me, master, the secret of Zen. Well, you put on your clothes and eat your breakfast. And the student, of course, answers, I don't understand. Well, then put on your clothes and eat your breakfast. Now, here's what amuses me most about the story. Were they in their pajamas? Did they just rise from the same bed? What is the backstory? I hope they were wearing pajamas. But the point is, okay, so the answer is brilliant. Yeah, put on your clothes and eat your breakfast. I don't get it. Fine, put on your clothes and eat your breakfast. That doesn't relieve you of the burden of being the person that you are. None of us understand any of this, to be honest, right? So how many of you understand why you're here? So precisely here, in this historical point, what your mission, we don't understand anything. We don't. Okay, so what are we supposed to do in light of that? Yeah, put on your clothes and eat your breakfast. So chop wood, carry water. If you're hungry, eat. If you're tired, sleep. Now, what does that mean with respect to how I organize my instruction? Notice that everything I ask you to do is realized in steps. Even if you don't understand the concepts, even if the project completely baffles you, well, so what? How are you? Why do you expect of yourself this superhuman level of cognition where you can just understand everything up front? Nobody thinks that. Nobody has that ability. Just follow the steps. Put on your clothes and eat your breakfast. So you can follow a single step, can't you? Chop wood, carry water. Now perform the next step. The understanding will come later, kings, queens, and royal persons. We never understand everything up front. We have to experience it first. To use Mao's illustration, I could write you an entire book on what a pear tastes like. But until you eat the pear, you cannot know. So, when in doubt,
follow the steps. Just do what I ask you to do. And in most cases, yeah, you're going to be fine. Anyway, on behalf of the learning specialists, the curricular designers, and the content experts of the Info NuX family of high-quality Mount Royal University course offerings, I would like to thank you for your time and for your attention. Please press like and subscribe, visit our merch store, consider how much the premium content that we offer to our Patreon sponsors could benefit you, whether personally or professionally, and I wish you all the best.